Today is Thursday, May the 12th, 2022, and it is 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Welcome to Week 1 Open House for Constitutional Law. And I'm Richard Wright. Many of you know me already if you've had other classes with me. And I'm going to be with you for the next 5.5 weeks up until I believe the 17th of June, which is I think the last day of class, but I'll confirm that in a few minutes. And tonight what I will be doing is I will be going over the expectations for this class. And I want you to listen very carefully to everything that I say, because to be honest with you, everything that I talk about tonight can help you to succeed in this course so that you can maximize your grade and get either on the Dean's List or honor roll, or at least get an A or a B from this class. Now, I always tell my students, you're not taking this class to get an A or a B. You're taking this class to learn more about criminal justice, to prepare you as a future criminal justice professional. And if you are working in the field already, to enhance your ability to be able to move to higher levels and promotions and to other areas of success. Some leave here and go to professional schools, graduate school, like I did, and that's law school. And that's not what everybody's going to do, but I can point you in that direction and help you, because I certainly know how to do that. And I did it at a pretty good law school, Northwestern University School of Law. So I tell you, pay close attention to everything that I say in this lecture and in the lectures to come. Specifically, please read the rubrics thoroughly when you complete your assignments. When I said thoroughly, I mean thoroughly, because a lot of people miss things, such as not providing cases. When you cite a case, I require you to cite the official court case. We'll go over tonight how to do that and everything. So the key is to get your assignments done following the rubric, the module, and the things that I say, and also at the same time to make sure that you get them in timely. And we'll talk about that as well tonight. It's so important. But don't be so hastily getting your assignments completed that you miss the requirements of the rubric, because there's no saying haste makes waste. But if you make sure you understand what you have to do first, or either, as I like to remind people, the way I was successful is I planned my work and then I worked that plan, and that's what will help you. And so I want to encourage you to follow that route. So let's go on and let's get started here. I'm going to share my screen. And when you see this, you'll see something that is very familiar to you. And it tells you the name of the course, Drugs and Crime. And this is term 2. And we have messages. This is how you follow, of course. I don't worry about the analytics, but the messages, this is where you can send me a message. No one has sent me a message yet, but it does show that I've sent you, oh yeah, one student, one of my former students, Ahmed, did. But you can see here where you got your welcome email, and you also got your PowerPoints for week 1, of which each week you will get PowerPoints, which I will not use in the lecture, but those are for studying. And next, let's take a look at the grade book. This is the grade book that I see, and it tells me what your assignments are for each week. So this week we have a discussion assignment, classification of drugs and controlled substances. I can see that 3 people have submitted them. Of course, it says it's due on the 14th, which is Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, that's when your initial post and reply posts will be due during week one, during week one, during week one. The number, when you get to discussions, it always shows the date for reply posts. When you get to the calendar, it tells you when your initial posts are due, which you know should know now is Tuesdays. But obviously, it's not going to be Tuesday of this week. Why? Very simple question that you can answer is that we didn't start until Wednesday. So that's why we didn't start with Tuesday. So therefore, your initial post and reply post will be due Saturday. I'm going to discuss this a little bit. Then I'm going to discuss your assignment, impact of controlled substances. We're going to go over the rubric. There is a quiz which I will be talking about. I will not show you the quiz. I will not click on it because if I click on it, it will show the quiz. I'm not going to do that. And then your live classroom phrase, that'll be due. Notice that the discussion posts are due on Saturdays, and then the rest of your stuff is due on Sundays. Every week you'll see it like that. All right. Now, over here in the discussion section also, there's a lounge. And if you scroll down at the bottom, there's a course chat. This is for me. This is where you'll learn something about me. And I have typed in and prepared a welcome for you here, telling you a little bit about me, showing you my family. This is Julian. That's my wife, Julia. That's me. That's my baby girl, Jillian. She's 14 now, so it's an old picture. This is Julia Alexis. She is 22, 23 actually. Well, she's 22 going on 23. He just made 22, this one here. This fella here today, May 12th, is celebrating his 27th birthday today. That's Richard Jr. And then it tells you a little bit about myself, my political science degree in Trinity, and then my Master of Arts in Religion. I'm sorry, my political science degree in Roosevelt, and then Master of Arts in Religion that I haven't finished a paper, and I probably won't. And then my JD, which I graduated in 1978, as you'll see below in the picture. And then these are just a few things about myself. Tells you things that I like to do, like reading, especially the Bible, listening to gospel music. I like jazz also. I also am a pastor of a church with my wife. I speak Spanish, poquito, poquito. And I like movies, especially Robert Zemeckis movies. He's the one who wrote Back to the Future, Forrest Gump. He's my high school classmate, sat right behind me in high school. And then one of my greatest accomplishments was graduating from Northwest University School of Law, and that's me. Now when you graduate, you have different robes. I got my Northwestern new robe now that I wear now to all our graduations. I wore it first to the graduation we had, and we don't wear these kind of hats anymore. We wear these funny looking doctor hats. So it was in June of 78, I believe the exact date was June the 26th. I think that was it. Anyway, I want you to take time to reply to this post, submit a post introducing yourself. I hope you do that in your lounge or as well as mine. And this is a mnemonic that will help you that I developed down through the years, and I do public speaking using this mnemonic as a way of success. And you can take a look at that. And then if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to contact me. I'm one of the easiest professors to contact. one of the most available professors. Now many are starting to follow the lead that I set years ago. This is my email address. Now, you've noticed there's no to there. You'll see that later. That goes right to my email that I get on my phone. That's the school email. But when you put the to on it, it goes into the course mail. All right, when you do it with course mail. I don't always see those right away, but these I see all the time in my phone because my phone's with me everywhere I go. And then this is my personal email that feel free to use as well. This is my phone number. Disregard this second number because that's my office, but I'm not there anymore much because I'm remote. So 630-660-8480. You can call me or text me. You'll learn when you can't text me or call me in a few minutes. You'll get that. So each week we'll have a discussion assignment, and in the discussion assignment, which next week starts with the initial post being due on Tuesdays and the reply post. But this week, keeping you focused on this week, you must, I repeat, you must reply and post by the end of the day, Saturday. Now, I do give you open that if you supply an initial post on Saturday and you do by some chance happen to supply a reply post on Sunday, I will give you your points, but you'll lose 1 point for being late. Even though the discussion forum is over, that's just how I do. But if you submit both of your discussion posts on Sunday, no points, no points. So you'll find yourself in a situation where you'll get a 0 because the discussion forum is over. You'll see that as we go forward. All right, let's take a look at the calendar, which is absolutely critical for you to utilize. And I go with the month vision view because you can see everything. As you can see, the course began yesterday. Today, and if you click on this, it tells you not only the time, but it also tells you the link. So if you scroll down, there it is. And if you click on that, which I won't, it will bring you right to where we are right now. Okay, and notice that this lasts at least until 8:30. It may go a little shorter, but usually 8:30 is the first week because I go over the parameters of what to expect for the next 5.5 weeks. So your initial post is due, and your reply post. Let's see. I gotta okay, let me fix this. Hang in with me. I'm gonna show you something. You'll see how I do this. Okay, I gotta put this in here. Oops, I thought I'd taken that out. Okay. Okay. So let's get that out of there. All day. Let's move that and save it. All right, so now when you look at the month calendar, then you'll see the initial post is due Sunday as well as your reply post. Okay. All right, so now we go to the 15th and you see your assignments are due, your live lecture, and the quiz. And then you'll notice that next week, starting next week, Tuesday, is when your lectures take place 7 to 8 o'clock. And then your initial post will be due that way all the way through to the last week, which is the 14th. It actually starts the 13th, but the course ends on the 17th, and that's when your last week's assignments are due. But we'll get to that there. Absolutely no assignments will be accepted after the 17th unless you've got an appropriate, incomplete requested and granted by, yes, you guessed it, me. But it's incumbent on you to let me know. I don't always grant them, but I'm pretty liberal with it. So now let's take a look at the announcements that are posted here. So you have APA assistance. All right, so want to make sure that you understand APA. So this is one place where you'll find APA assistance right there in your announcements. And I encourage you to look at that. And it gives some information about in-text citations, references. Don't worry about annotated bibliography. And then this, if you do this, it tells you you can go and have a chat with the librarian as well, or someone that can help you. And then additional resources. So all about APA. You'll want to become familiar with this if you're not already. Okay. All right, let's get out of this one. I want to close it. Okay, so then this is the announcement. It'll be here all term. Academic integrity video, we're going to come back to that in just a few minutes. Your welcome announcement. This is the welcome announcement that I've posted that you all should look at, and it tells you some information as well to help you. And it reminds you that the week 1 lecture is taking place right now, and it says Thursday the 11th, which is not accurate. It's Thursday the 12th. So, and then beginning next week, it'll be Tuesdays. So, okay. Very important. Okay, I want to fix that so that when people see it, they can get the right date. Let's edit it. These are little things that I can do. And let's change that to the 12th. And then save it. And then let's post it now. So now everybody can see it. And so when you go back to the welcome announcement, it has May 12th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. All right. If anyone came on yesterday, they would have seen me in that same time doing another lecture. But I guess people didn't get the message or didn't understand that they should come. It is a good thing to come to the lectures as much as possible. So that's the welcome announcement. The other thing that I want to share with you is my motto, adversity is a springboard to success. This is a video that's not a graded assignment. It's something that you can learn, and feel free to share it with your friends and family, pass it around, because it's a little story about the adversity that I overcame to become successful in my career. So if you click on this, I would start talking, which I won't do that, but it's an hour and 3 minutes, and you can take a look at that on your own as well. It'll be there all quarter rather. Okay, let's go to the academic integrity video. Now, this is one of the places where you can find it, and I'm going to click on this, and we click on this. I want you to take about 4 minutes and listen to this. The volume might be kind of low on this because I take off my headset, but you can listen to this.
individual's work without giving them credit, or taking another person's work and forward. Some examples of plagiarism are turning in an assignment that someone else wrote, copying words or ideas from someone else. This can be a library resource, course textbook, internet resource, or other material without giving the original creator credit. Failing to put quoted works in quotation marks, or using someone else's ideas in your essays, but changing a few of the words to make it sound like the words are your own. Plagiarism is not just about written words and ideas. It's possible to plagiarize images, graphs, coding, or video as well. So how can you avoid plagiarism? Cite your sources, both in the body of your paper as in-text citations and on your references page. Whenever you want to use words, images, video, or ideas that were created by another person, you should cite that person appropriately as the source of that information.
But how does academic integrity relate to the work world? Isn't it just a college thing?
No. Integrity in the workplace starts with good practices and skills built while you are a student. Would you turn in a project document to your manager as your own when someone else wrote it? Not if you want to keep your job. Individuals can be reprimanded or even fired from their job for plagiarism. Following academic integrity guidelines while you are in school builds those skills and ethical practices that carry through to.
Okay, I understand how they're connected, but what do I do if I need more help?
If you have questions on the academic integrity policy, consult your course syllabus, talk with your instructor or dean, and if you need assistance with APA citation style or how to avoid plagiarism, contact the Rasmussen library team through our live chat or schedule a research appointment on our library website or through the resources tab of your course. If you would like APA tutoring, schedule an appointment with one of our peer tutors on the course resources tab.
Okay. All right. So that's where we are now. So we want to make sure that you pay close attention to everything that was said in that video, and you understand the reasons why we stress APA. It has to do with integrity, giving credit to individuals who wrote or provided materials that you discover from your research. Okay. So now let's take a look at this week's announcement. Each week you will see an announcement, and as usual, I did that. I did it again here. It says lectures began on, it says first week module, effects on the body, classification and controlled substance, chapters 1 and 2. I provided you the PowerPoints for that. Crime and justice, and then we're going to deal with the Controlled Substance Act, activities, narcotics, amphetamines, cocaine, marijuana, synthetic drugs, and then we'll talk about the transferable skills as well. And then the lecture taking place, as it says here, Wednesday. It should be Thursday today, May 12th, as opposed to that. And then next week, beginning every Tuesday on the 17th, 7 to 8 p.m. And then your discussion assignment, classification of drugs and controlled substances. The deadline for that is initial post due Saturday, and reply post. I already mentioned that earlier. Complete the quiz and the written assignment, impact of controlled substances. All written assignments are due every Sunday except discussion post. And then this reminds you again that the first lecture will take place, and that says May 12th, but it's actually, it is May 12th. That's the correct date. Wednesday, May 12th is incorrect because there is no Wednesday 11th, May 12th. So Wednesday, May 11th, that would be um, yesterday. Today is the 12th, and that's the time. So it was there in the announcement, so people could know when to come to the announcement. All right, but I always like to try to uh, fix stuff. So let's change that again and edit it. Okay. Actually, it's not even Wednesday. It's Thursday, May 12th. There is no Wednesday, May 12th this year. Okay. And then this date here should be Thursday, May 12th, not Wednesday. So sorry if I confused you, but no harm, no foul. Okay, Thursday, May 12th. All right. Actually, none of you came yesterday anyway. So anyway, we got that straightened out. So let's save that. Let's post it. And now let's go back and look at it and you'll see it corrected. And it's got the correct information. So be aware though that next Tuesday is when we have the regular lectures, and it'll be every Tuesday. But you saw that on the course calendar. All right. And then today is an open house and lasts 1.5 hours. You start strong and finish strong. And then my motto, adversity springboard success, is shared with you in that video. Again, I apologize if I confused you, but no worries, no problems. That's why we record it, so that you can get that information. All right, now let's go look at some of the tools and sources before we move on. So one of the things is the library resources. You heard that referred to in the video, and here it is right here. You click on that and it takes you here. And if you hover over any of these things, it helps you, including if you hovered over APA and clicked it, it'll take you to something that I already showed you. All right. And also, you should be aware that all of your papers should be run through Grammarly. You should each be aware that you have a Grammarly account. And if you clicked on the Grammarly here, it will tell you how to set it up. It tells you to use your Rasmussen student email. When you run your papers through Grammarly, make sure that you check the plagiarism box. Very, very, very important. And so there's everything in here to help you. There's even a reference to the guides. We each have guides, and you come down to the School of Justice Studies, and there it is. And it tells you, that's Dennis Johnson, your librarian as well. All right. And we have Bethany Marston of the Learning Center, and there she is, Learning Center Coordinator there. And you can click on this and you can contact her as well. She is also the one that if you are interested in becoming a student tutor, I will let me know and I will submit your name, and she will tell you what the requirements are in order to be able to do so. She's looking for student tutors right now as I speak. It's a work study program that actually helps you out to pay your tuition, but and it's also a benefit to have it on your resume. So you can reach out to me and I will share that with Bethany as well. But anyway, this tells you all about the classes, and there's drugs and crime as one of them. And if you were to click on this, it would show you the modules and how you can find articles and things that can help you. The course project you don't have to worry about anymore because we did away with that. Then you want to make sure you have credible sources. That's one of the things that you discover, credible sources. And then this is how you can determine. But the key thing is you use sources that are, if you use the Library and Learning Center as one, you will never go wrong. Okay. And so you can go to the library. And I showed you how to do that as well. Find sources. Transferable skills, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. And then the Library and Learning Center has webinars periodically. So transferable skills, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. All right. But these are further guides. So this is just letting you know about this information over here. And they cover all the programs. You know, like if you needed tutoring, you want to meet with the librarian, frequently asked questions. If you want to click on this, you can go through there and you can look at some of the frequently asked questions, and it lists in here the things that you can get answers to. Okay. So that's the online library. So now let's look at the syllabus. And then there's also a place for tutoring down there as well. So here's the syllabus, and it tells you the name of your course. It tells you who your professor is, instructor, that's me. And here's my office hours. Pay close attention to this. And it reads as follows. You can text me, call me, or email me any hour of the day except the 25th hour. Think about that. I like calls and I like texts. Email is the least of those to use. I'll explain why. First of all, you could get better communication when you text, because then most of the time what text result in is a call anyway. But I can see them faster. Emails, I see them if they're without the two. If it has the two, it'll go into the course mail, and I might not see it right away. But I'm always available for you to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me. If you have a problem, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Something that you need help with, let me know. You run into a personal problem and you feel like you can discuss it with me. I'm a pastor. I'm also a person who understands. I've been in your shoes. If you listen to Adversity is a Springboard to Success, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm very personable, and I'm very student oriented and focused on my students. I talk to my students all week long if they call me and say they need me. My phone number is 630-660-8480. Again, that's my cell phone, which is always near. Here it is right here. I got it on silent, so I don't want it to ring while I'm doing this lecture. Very important notes that I'm getting ready to give you now. And you can always go back. Reminding you that you're required to conduct research for all your papers. We want you to be researchers, because that's something that you're going to end up doing in your professional career. And the sole source of your paper should not be the text. We want you to go beyond the text. We want you to look into other sources. Credible. We're going to talk about information literacy as one of those. And we'll tell you there's a source that you never use in information literacy. I'll just tell you now, it's Wikipedia. Don't ever use it, because you'll lose points. It's not a credible source, because anybody can put whatever they want to put in that source. All written assignments, did you hear me? And I'm not talking about discussion posts. All written assignments should be in APA format. Citations in the body and references at the end. There should be a cover page. It should be double spaced. Did you hear me? Double spaced. It should be double spaced. It should be double spaced. I'll say it again. It should be double spaced. There's reasons why I keep doing that. And it should have a reference page. Very important. Cover sheet. Pay close attention to the rubrics and the details provided in each module. Okay. All right, let's go down. So the textbook, you know the text because you have it already. So we've kind of talked about discussions already, but I do want to just for a moment say that we expect your post to be detailed, demonstrating some critical thinking, not just yes or no, I agree or disagree, good post or something like that. And the key thing is posted by the due date. And I told you what that was based on your calendar. Okay. Now, be aware that you have a setting that I have laid this out in discussion posts that you have to post first. Until you post your this post, you will not see anything. And so it's important for you to be aware of that. So check the course calendar again for the due dates. I've already told you. Please exercise courtesy and proper etiquette. Don't shoot anybody down. If I disagree with you, I'll let you know, but I do it properly. Okay? Don't disrespect anybody. We already talked about APA, but that's the style that we use. And then in this course, you have readings, which you have your book, you have your PowerPoints, you have your discussion assignments, you have 5 quizzes from weeks 1 to 5. And then week 6, you'll have a final exam. And it tells you that it'll be 20 multiple choice questions when you get to week 5. By the way, they're all timed. They are timed. Assignments and their closed book are due each day based on the due dates that I've told you. All right. And that's, again, what you saw up at the top. All right, so here's how it breaks down. You get 120 points for discussions. So written assignments are 340 out of 605. So if you pay close attention, your discussions and assignments together are a big portion of your grade here. Okay, big portion, almost 400 and over 400 and something points. All right. Now, I want to say this right now. I work with A, B students. I work with C students. However, I don't work to get you a C. I don't want you to get a C. I want you to get an A or a B because that means that you have followed the instructions and directions. You know, one of the key things is, and I've said this before, this is so important, but I have to say it over and over because I've been teaching at Rasmussen since 2011, and I have seen students go time and time again with trying to get the assignments in, but not considering the grades that they will get. If you want to be a just pass student, you got the wrong professor. That's not me. I'm an AB student. That's how I roll. And one of my students in the student comments said that they thought I was a difficult grader because I grade you like you're a professional. Well, my dean said, that's what we want you to do because we want to prepare you for your real world experiences that are coming up. And when you make mistakes, you want to make them here. But one of the critical things is following the instructions. Following the instructions. And make sure you understand the instructions. And it's very, very, very important. You can lose a number of points by not having your paper as detailed as it should be. So if it says 2 pages and you provide 1 page, you're going to lose a lot of points for that. If it says citations, which they will because it's APA in the body and you don't have any, then you're going to lose a huge number of points. if you don't have a reference page. So we want you to make sure that you put your best foot forward in everything that you submit. So don't call me or text me or ask me how to get a C. I'm not going to answer you. Right up front, I'm telling you that. Okay, so transferable skills, we're going to come back to that. The attendance policy, you can read that yourself. I want to finish up here by talking about the late assignment policy. Now, as you know, your written assignments are due on Sundays. Each day that your assignment is late, you lose 10%. Now, you have up to 7 days, but that's nothing to be, relaxed about, because here's what will happen. If you have a paper that's really good on Monday that you submit, then in that case, you could get a 90. That's the highest. If you do it at Tuesday, it's going to be an 80. If you do it that Wednesday, it's going to be a 70. A 70. You see where you are? You're down here to a C minus. And then the next day, it's 60. And then you're down here to D minus. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to put yourself in that position. All right. So now here's the deal. I already told you about discussion posts. So we talked about that, so I won't add that. But here's what I want to bring to your attention. And this is so important. You mess up when you don't pay attention to this. Instructors may waive the late penalty or time frame. Listen, that's me. That's not your dean. That's not the advisor or anybody else. It's me. That's why a student can never say, well, I couldn't reach him, or either I could. That's not true. That is an untrue statement. If you call me and you don't leave a message, shame on you. Because I'm not going to guess whose number called. And when you text me, please say the class that you're in, and then let me know what the issue is. And then oftentimes, rather than take the time to text you back, I will call you and I will leave a detailed message. Or if you really need, I'll say, hey, look, why don't we do this? Let's set up a time and you come to the classroom during a time when I'm not teaching, and you come in and then we talk about how to do this, just one-on-one, you and I. That's how I do it. So it says here, I can waive the time frame in the case of extenuating circumstances. So you'll say, well, I don't know exactly what that is. Extenuating circumstances are determined on a case-by-case basis. Let me know appropriate time. Let me know as soon as possible about how circumstances are creating problems for you getting your assignments done. Let me know. If you have a technical problem, please reach out to tech support. And the number for tech support is at the bottom of the welcome announcement that's in your course. But it's also several other places. But that's one place where I put it so that my students can always find it. Okay? And that's it. We don't have labs and those things that I don't give you extra work. And now, the last thing is I've already said is that in no way can a student submit their work after the last day of the term unless an incomplete has been requested and granted. You know who grants it? Me again. So I'm very important to help you, but you gotta be willing to reach out and let me know. And then here's the incomplete grade policy. Okay, very important. All right, the academic integrity policy, you can take time, read that on your own. All right, so that covers everything that I wanted to share with you for now. Let's get to the module itself for this week. And let's talk about first the assignment, which I do every week. I will talk about the assignment. I'll go to the calendar and then talk about that. Now, please, 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 please pay attention to what I'm getting ready to explain to you. Each of your written assignments, that means all of them, every one that you do from weeks 1 to 6, will involve this scenario right here. So it tells you in the weekly assignments, you'll use this scenario regarding Dave's life circumstances. Each week you'll deal with different aspects of it relating to the law, to mental health, and corrections each week. But you download this, download the file, and save it, because you're going to use it every week. Every week. Did you hear me? Every week, and you're going to be required by the rubric. You'll see what I'm talking about with this week's rubric. So, like it says, here's the instructions for this week. Identify each substance that Dave has been consuming, including the category and drug schedule level for each substance, which you will have. Okay? Describe the social impact of Dave's drug use. Explain the biological and psychological effects of Dave's drug use. You're going to have to do that. Provide at least one credible source, but here's what I'm going to tell you. Hear me good. Provide credible sources throughout the paper and make sure that they're properly formatted. Use professional language, grammar, spelling, and it must be, here's the length, you people miss this, a minimum of 2 pages. It says to 3. If you go beyond 3, that's okay, but that don't count. We don't count the cover page, we don't count the reference page. So it's 2 pages, double space, all right, as a minimum, with proper spelling, punctuation. In a Microsoft Word format, no other format, unless it tells you differently. In this course, my recollection is we have all our assignments in a Word format. So it's very, very, very important. Okay? Now, here's the rubric when I tell you to pay close attention. Now, be aware that we start at mastery and end up at emerging. This is F and D. This is D work. This is maybe C and B. This is A. But this is where you want to look at. You want to make sure you satisfy this column. Very important. So the substances. Now, let me say this. If you don't have any citations or credible sources in this paper, you're going to end up with what I call incomplete identification. Incomplete or incorrect. Incomplete or incorrect. No credible sources. So you're going to end up with 55%. That's failing. And if you didn't meet the 2-page assignment. Now you can end up doing things over here well, but if it's not long enough, then you're going to end up over here. So you're going to lose half the points here. Now, let me tell you right now, because we use a rubric grading system, it makes it easier for points to be calculated. It's already calculated in the system depending on the column. And I will have comments in the grade book under the bottom where it shows where I can make comments and letting you know what you missed and what you did wrong. Inevitably, a student will say, I didn't see any comments. Yes, they are. They're there. You'll see a little thing in your grade book. If you look in there for your grade book and look at the rubric in the grade book, not in the assignment, but in the grade book. It's the same one, but that's where you'll get your comments. So you're going to cover each of these issues. Okay? Very important. All right. So get into the habit of making sure that you've satisfied each of these boxes in your papers. If you haven't, you want to make sure you go get them done. But make sure your papers are run through Grammarly. You have the ability to be able to submit this assignment more than once. The highest grade will end up counting as the final grade. Okay. All right. So now that's the assignment. Notice the due date. There it is. Discussions, the due date here is Saturday. And it's going to be classification of drugs and controlled substances. Okay, so here's where you can find some information concerning this. I thought they had fixed this. They did not fix it. I have to tell them again. All right, I will provide the information for you in the module. You'll see it in a few minutes. I had to do it last term, so I'll do it this term. I'll do it after the lecture. All right. So for your first post, choose a drug, one of the drugs from the following list: methamphetamines, cocaine, one of these. Okay. And next, discuss whether the drug is classified and what schedule it is in. Explain the physical and psychological indicators of use. Discuss why it is criminalized. And find and discuss an article from your state published in the last 2 years about a criminal case involving drug controlled substance, and discuss whether the drug or controlled substance should continue to be criminalized. In your reply post, you do that with another student. Okay, one student has done that already. Several have done it. All right, and I will respond to those. All right, remember, it's due this Saturday. Then there's the quiz, which is 30 minutes time. Okay, so you're going to make sure that you study the materials and understand what the material is all about in that module before you take it, because it's a closed book exam. Your live classroom recording, this is where you will find the link that I'll be putting up here of the recording. I will post it here, and then I will email it to you, and that'll be each week. And then here, your live classroom, that's where you put your phrase that I will give you during this lecture and let you know what that is. So we're going to talk about Controlled Substance Act, narcotics, amphetamines, cocaine, and marijuana, synthetic drugs, and then we'll also talk about the transferable skills. All right, so now, the Controlled Substance Act is an act that Congress passed in 1970, and it began to classify drugs based upon there being no accepted medical use. And you can see now that that is changing, because marijuana is on there as Schedule 1, but it's on its way to changing it because of the fact that, as you know, marijuana is being legalized in many states across the country, even though I'm not agreeable with it, because I still consider it as a gateway drug. And when I say a gateway drug, what that means is that it's an introduction to drugs that can lead to um, drugs that are on the higher on the schedule, like two and after that. So the key thing is that drugs are dangerous. They can put you in a position where it changes your life. It can deprive you of life. It can deprive you of the opportunity of advancement in life, success in life, and it can put you in a category. Now, I say this every year. I teach this, or every term. The name of this course is Drugs and Crime. And the reason why it's called Drugs and Crime and not crime and drugs is because many individuals, almost everyone, and I've represented a lot of those people, commit crimes to support their drug habits. And as a result of that, they are not bad people, but they commit crimes so they can pay for the drugs that they need in order to kind of exist once they're, as they say, they got that monkey on their back. Once the drugs are in control of them and force them to commit crimes to support their habits. And sometimes it results in OD, and that means overdoses where people die. And we'll be talking more about that in the coming weeks when we talk about the epidemic of the fact that we have opioid addiction as a big issue. And we'll be talking about that in weeks to come. But each of these scheduled drugs, so when you get to, by the time you get to drug 5, Schedule 5, drugs are lower potential abuse, and they can be things like cough medicine with codeine, Robitussin, and different substances that enter into the body from the medications that you take. And you can begin to recognize some of these items. Back to Schedule 2 again, oxycodone, fentanyl, Adderall, methadone, which we'll be talking about in the future as well. Methamphetamines, which is very dangerous. All right, so here's the statute. I think they might have put it in here now. Let's see. Did they do it? They didn't do it. Schedule of controlled substances not found. I will again make sure that you have that. So don't worry about that. I will pull that up for you tonight when we finish. And then this is an activity that you can do yourself. And if you go through these, you can determine which of these drugs based upon the schedule. And peyote, if you schedule 1, you'll see that there. And then you'll go on and it'll test you to determine where these drugs are on the schedule. All right, so you'll have that information so you can go over that knowledge check yourself. That's something to help you get ready for the test as well. Okay, so let's talk about narcotics, amphetamines, cocaine. So what is a narcotic? What exactly is that? It's a substance that what it does is it puts you in as it says, a dulled state, and it's used also, and you don't have any pain. So today, opium derivatives, and synthetic substitutes are more or less what we call narcotics. But examples of opioids include oxycodone, Vicodin, codeine, morphine, very powerful. People use that, for pain. Methadone, we'll talk about that more in the future. Fentanyl, when we start talking about fentanyl, and we start talking about other things that individuals put into their body and they're injected. And so, where did narcotics come from? It came from opioids, which are natural, and then synthetics. In other words, made up in a lab, and begin to add things to it. Prescription narcotics, such as oxycodone, hydrocodone, hydromorphine, morphone, fentanyl, are prescribed by physicians. And so it starts out with painkillers, but people abuse those. And oxycodone, hydrocodone, and the others continue, and they reach a point where the body needs more, and the people become addicted to that and begin to steal from their family members, friends, and everybody. Remember, I told you the drug controls them, and then eventually they find themselves in the law enforcement and public health issues. You're going to learn in this class that the epidemic of drugs is more of a public health issue than a criminal issue. And you're going to learn that law enforcement is moving into the direction of serving as help for individuals who are addicts, to try to help save lives, as opposed to just locking up people for possession of controlled substances. But we'll go over the history of all of that during the course of the next 5.5 weeks. So what do these things do to the body? It slows your breathing, constriction of the pupils, your face becomes flushed, your neck, you have constipation, noisier vomiting, and all kinds of things. And then sometimes the ultimate is overdose, which results in death. And you become dependent on it. You have to have it. And when it gets to that point, the only way to remove it is through the challenge of withdrawals, which we'll talk about in future weeks. Very hard, difficult thing to do. There are psychological aspects, because your thinking changes. You don't approach things the same way. And like I said again, everything is a challenge to you. Little simple things, even like tying your shoes, tying a tie, putting on a shirt, pair of pants, those kinds of things become difficult and a challenge. So what are amphetamines? So these things, what they do is they get in your body, and meth is one that's mildly available. And we'll talk about that right now. Let's talk about meth. It's injected, snorted, or smoked. So it originated in Mexico, and manufacturers and distributors from Mexico brought it to the United States through cartels and other organizations. And so locally produced meth is mainly made with products that contain pseudoephedrine. Mexican methamphetamine is made with other chemicals. So what happened is that the law passed in 2005, what's called the Combat Methamphetamine Epidemic Act. And what that meant is that items that were used to make methamphetamine that were available in the stores, um, they put a requirement that you had to show identification and sign a logbook. And the reason for that is because if you were doing it on a regular basis, you probably were a person who manufactured it for sale. And so people wouldn't, that was one of the ways to slow it down. It wouldn't stop it. But once you get these things into your body, oh, look at the thing, can cause elevated body temperature. Um, that can be lethal, convulsions, cardiovascular collapse, and possibly death. Um, Meth use may also cause extreme anxiety, anorexia, or weight loss, memory loss, and all other kind of problems. The psychological aspects of it is that these individuals who smoke it or orally ingest it or snort it have things, their body is like on speed. Um, they talk about the fact that high levels of neurotransmitter dopamine in the brain. And so long-term effects is that it damages the brain, creates an addiction. So it's a real problem. Insomnia, psychotic features, paranoia, aggression. It's just a whole myriad of things that are bad. Let's talk about another drug that's serious, and that's cocaine. Cocaine is can be injected, snorted, or smoked. Now, cocaine actually came from coca leaves in Latin America, Bolivia, Peru, and Colombia. And about 90% of the cocaine powder reached the United States came from there. And it entered the United States through Mexico. So what does it do to the body? It increases the blood pressure. What happens is your heart enlarges. And particularly when we start talking about crack cocaine, which we'll be talking about that a little bit in the future. But I am totally one who understands the effects of crack cocaine, not because I've used it, because I never have, but two ways I understand it. I was the village attorney, police officer, investigator in a town called Ford Heights, south suburbs of Chicago, which was called the crack cocaine capital of the south suburbs. And I saw many individuals who were just totally they were zoned out because of crack cocaine. It was a very cheap way to get cocaine. It was boiled and sold in the form of rocks. And cocaine leads to cardiac arrest and convulsion, stroke, and death. I say death because I lost a baby sister in '94 because she had a brain aneurysm that was brought on from using crack cocaine. Psychological effects of cocaine is that you have a rush. And see, here's what happens. When people get this cocaine in their system, they want to duplicate that high, but they're never able to. So what they do is they increase the amounts of cocaine to try to get it up. And eventually what happens is that they reach a point where they can overdose. But they become restless, irritable, very anxious, and then it results in paranoia in people. Terrible thing. You're almost like a zombie. Let's talk about marijuana before we leave this section. It's a mind-altering drug. Cannabis sativa and THC. Now, smoking it produces a high, and it's called a joint. Oftentimes, it can be in food, I've seen it in foods like brownies. There was a TV show used to come on called Barney Miller years and years ago that came on, and there was a segment where the police were given some brownies by someone, and they were eating the brownies. Well, it turned out they were laced with marijuana, and they got high. But marijuana is grown in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Caribbean, and Asia, and it can be grown indoors and outdoors. The short-term effects from marijuana include sedation, bloodshot eyes, increased heart rate, increased appetite, decreased blood pressure, um, uh, bronchitis, emphysema, asthma, and then suppression of the immune system. So put that together with the fact that it's being legalized in this country. It's, to me, again, it's not an exciting thing to do because people still graduate from marijuana. The psychological aspects is dizziness, nausea, dry mouth. It's just bad. Nothing good about it. Can give negative um, effects on your body. Your short-term memory is gone. You can even be in the middle of talking to somebody and forget what you started out to say. It's really a devastating thing. So that's a little bit about these narcotics. All right. Synthetic drugs is something different. Synthetic drugs are made in labs, and they're hard to regulate, and they are often sold on the internet and these stores. They come in all kind of forms, like what they call bath salts. Has nothing to do with taking a bath, but these drugs are available to the public and sold under the guise of incense, potpourri, and other fragrant herbs. And but an example is spice, a spraying chemical mixture that mimics the effects of THC. And spice creates a euphoric similar to marijuana, and the effects it can have on your body: hallucinations, rapid heart rate, vomiting, confusion, resulting in individuals having taken trips, as I call them. They get out of their mind. Bath salts, a mixture of chemicals that contain chemicals that are like the ones found in amphetamines, found in crystal methane and ecstasy. Causes euphoria, puts a person in a level where they're out of touch with reality. People will jump out windows, off of bridges, paranoid, and also manifest violent behavior. And so there's some long-term effects of these things that take place in the body. And so we conclude with bath salt, spice, and others that contain chemicals similar to THC as synthetic cannabinoids and are listed in Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substance Act. Most states have also state laws criminalizing synthetic cannabinoids as well. All right. They look like candy sometimes. And so those are the drugs. Now let's talk about transferable skills for a minute here before we adjourn. I talked about this earlier. Employers have determined that they want employees to be proficient in these areas. Critical thinking, which means improving your thinking to include how to solve a problem, applying standards such as clarity, logic. In other words, taking the material and analyzing it, in short. Digital fluency, employing and understanding digital tools, such as understanding how to use Word documents, how to use Excel spreadsheets, how to utilize PowerPoints, how to utilize your learning systems, your class systems like Blackboard. Information literacy, recognizing, oh, and by the way, back to digital fluency, your textbooks. When I was coming up, we didn't have that. We had the actual books, but now we have books on our phones, on our laptops, on our iPads, computers, and you have them. Information literacy, and it determined that there's credible information used effectively. And remember, I said that one of the ones that you never use is Wikipedia. Ethics and professional responsibility. It is so important that you understand ethics as operating for the greater good of the world and the workplace. Exercising ethical principles in school prepares you for ethical principles in the workplace. If you are an unethical student, you will probably become an unethical professional. And if you're an unethical professional, you will probably not be a professional very long, because bad things happen to individuals who are not ethical. So I stress ethics. I taught ethics in criminal justice when we had the course. I taught ethics in medicine. I taught ethics in business as well here at Rasmussen. So it's very important. And being a minister and pastor, I stand firmly on integrity, and that's part and parcel of ethics. Diversity and professional responsibility, by the way, comes about because most organizations or professionals have a code of conduct that they must abide by. Diversity is awareness that you operate empathetically while working with individuals, as it says, from various backgrounds in a collaborative manner and perspective. We have gone to diversity and inclusion, where we recognize the fact that not only will you be a person who work with individuals who are from a different background than you, who maybe even speak a different language, different culture, but you learn from each other, and you learn to respect each other even if you don't agree with their views in life. Communication, written and oral communication, and understanding nonverbal language. Let me explain something to you. Communication is so important in our industry in criminal justice because most of your reports end up as exhibits in court and are used by attorneys to determine whether something happened or not, or to determine whether or not you're credible as a person. So you need to be professional in your spelling. You need to be accurate in the facts about what happened. And now we have video, which if you have different written versions, the video could impeach you and get you placed in a position where you can end up unethical and lose your job and or end up in jail. So reading and writing and being able to speak and communicate with people from various backgrounds, understanding nonverbal language, paying attention to the individuals, conducting yourself in a professional manner, not using foul language to describe people. I don't care how upset you might be with them. You still have to remain professional. So these skills, communication, ethical, and professional responsibility and diversity, are what we call interpersonal skills, because you deal with other individuals, other people. The other skills, digital influence, digital fluency, information literacy, and critical thinking, are intra, which means it's in you, which is practice and you learn yourself. And then here's a video, short video that you can take a look at when you have the time, and I won't go into it. Okay, so that is it for today. I want to, again, I will put the information in about the schedules in here so you'll have it. I'll pull it up because I have it in the course when I taught it before, so make sure you have it. So what I want to do is give you a key phrase that we can give for you to get your points today. And that key phrase is one of those drugs. And today I'm going to use cocaine. So if you give me that, you can get your points for this week. Give me cocaine as the word. All right, I'll see you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Enjoy the rest of your week. If you have any questions, you know how to reach out to me. Good night.